Happy Thursday. We're back from Houston.
Is Megan cutting out already? We just started the show and I'm already losing Megan. We're back from the Money Shots Bowl. Megan is going to rejoin us here shortly, and we're going to talk some college basketball. Unless I'm just losing her on my end, you guys tell me in the comments if you guys can hear her, because I think we need to get her rebooted. But yeah, we had a great time, as you can tell. Still feeling it pretty rough today. Flew in last night, had to do a couple other shows, and now really just pondering life. Megan, I'm going to have you reboot so we can get this show on the road. Matthew says he can't hear anything. Megan is frozen. So hopefully you guys can still hear me. We're going to get her re-going here in a second. We're going to talk some college hoops. If you guys know, my college hoops have not been great. A little 1-1, got lucky last night with Texas Tech. Florida just couldn't hang in the second half with Bama. She'll be back in just a second. Don't you guys worry.
I'm sorry, guys. Wired reason, I guess maybe it is don't have internet connection. We're here. We're from Houston. Everything is good. You can't. No, still. Am I frozen?
Yeah, Megan, I'll text you. I'll text you what to do. We'll get you rebooted, get you started. Megan's still not back, and I just got a text that says Jesus Christ. We are going to talk some college basketball. We'll give out some NFL best bets. Then tomorrow we'll go through the entire NFL slate per usual. And then Monday I have a special guest that we're bringing on to talk national championship. So it's going to be really awesome. Brendan with a hilarious comment. Death, taxes, and Megan internet problems. Isn't that the truth? It's going to be awesome today because we have no slate, a few college basketball games that I like. But outside of that, Megan's going to have to get this internet together because we're talking teams like SFA, UTSA, UT Rio Grande. There are teams on here that I have not even looked at this year. As you guys know, I really try to focus. Hey, she's back.
I don't know what the fuck's happening because I'm hardwired in. No one's here. There's not anybody on Wi-Fi. I'm
glad you're here because I was just complaining to everybody that you're going to have to hold down the fort for college basketball. I just started about last week, and there are so many games on the slate. I haven't even looked at any of these teams yet to start the year.
So before we get into those, let's talk about the Money Shots Bowl. Let's talk about that. We don't need to jump just now. I know that I'm cutting out, but we'll start back at the beginning. So Kelly's graciously not dumping mayonnaise on my head. Is it because we are at our homes and not in the office? Most likely. But I also would not have made her eat mayonnaise. So that I would have tricked her. And
I was already trying to figure out, Megan, how I was going to fake that it was mayonnaise in the jar. Like I was going to pretend like I was opening a fresh jar of I don't know, sour cream. Like I could have probably ate a jar of sour
pudding.
Cream.
How about vanilla pudding?
Anything other than mayonnaise, I would have died. I would have thrown up live on air. I'm just glad that K-State, was able to take advantage of a depleted LSU team. That was really fun for me. Megan got us field passes, so that was awesome. And got to really go down there after the game and celebrate with the team. Our favorite producer, Jack McCarthy, was with us. And even though he had a 7 a.m. flight, I made him stay out and continue to drink with me after the game. So I'm sure he's feeling really hot as well right now.
Yeah, I went back to my room. There was someone that I needed to take care of. He had enough. That was Kelly's boyfriend's fault, but we'll save that for a whole different episode. However, I was also just extremely sad. And that rumor on the Money Shots page where I may or may not have taken K-State -24 could have also made me really, really, really fucking sad if I took that. But that's an if. No one really knows because I didn't put it out. So you can't tag me for a loser that I didn't tell you. So yeah, it was a great time. Kelly and I had a blast, lots of barbecue. Shout out Mints. He got us, made sure that we went to the number 3 rated barbecue restaurant in all of Houston. And it was delicious. Where did you end up going the second day, Kel?
Yeah, so the first day we went to Truth Barbecue. Excellent. It was super top 5 best barbecue spots ever been. And then my buddy Steven always tries to like do this whole thing of, you're from Kansas, you don't know good barbecue. And I'm like, fine, take me to your favorite barbecue spot. And he asked specifically what part of the cow or pig was my favorite for barbecue. And I told him, number 1, I like brisket by all means. And then number 2, pulled pork. And so he took me to the pit room, and they had probably the best brisket I've ever had in my life. But also he knew the owner. So like, they brought us out our own fresh brisket, like sliced, like which pieces do you want? You know,
I'm
like,
mad that I had to leave early. I'm mad that I had to come back and take care of children because brisket is my personal favorite. And the one that we had the first day was good, but I was extremely hungover. So like the meat, all of it in my mouth, I was like, it was a lot. So I would have definitely like the after game would have been much better meat for me personally. Too much just going on.
I do want to address something in the comments really quick, Megan, because you were not there for this. Ben Moore is asking, yo, what was up with that food review video? I was laughing so hard. So I was all over the stadium. I think I did not go to like not one section in on our G Stadium. We were sitting in club level. Megan and Ben and Jack and Megan's husband were sitting in the end zone. My aunt was like a few rows below me. I had friends on the other end zone by the band. So I was running all over the place. But at halftime, Ben and I decided to meet up, and he's like, what do you want to try at the concession? So we're just like doing laps. I'm like, oh, obviously I just told you guys I love brisket nachos. Got to try it when in Texas. He gets a pulled pork sandwich. We stand there, we record. Jack has to run off to go back to his job, figure out where Megan's at, do his whole thing. And he uploads it to the group, and it's like this big. So you already know that means the video quality is going to be horseshit. And before I can even tell Mincy, hey, don't upload that, it's already got 1,000 views on the internet, and people are just roasting him. So then
That's
I find
Ben
Jack.
for you. Ben acts and then thinks. That's, you have to like the whole like do and then ask for forgiveness. That's like, I feel like that's kind of Ben's motto, and he doesn't even realize it. Like I love it.
So then we see Jack in the third quarter, and I'm like, Jack, what the fuck? What is this? And he goes, oh, I'm connected to the stadium Wi-Fi. I go, we have full bars. Why are you on stadium Wi-Fi? And he goes, well, I don't know. I just thought it'd be faster to get like tweets and stuff out. I'm like, I can't. And that video has 600,000 views. Somebody asked me if I was PFT today because obviously the long hair. I'm like, I can't handle it. But that is the beauty of Barstool, right? It was fucking hilarious. The end.
So yeah, that pretty much our entire time in Houston, I feel like could be encapsulated by absolutely hilarious. I feel like Kelly and I and Jack and Ben laughed the entire time. Well, besides whenever I was losing, but still then I was still laughing. I know I looked angry and sassy and high or whatever. But I'm not. I was just pouty, and I like to use my middle fingers. I feel like that's only appropriate when you fucking lose. So whatever. We had a great time. But
yeah, you wouldn't have seen me if we lost to like a second, third string LSU team. I would have just probably like never went to another K-State game again. I would have been so mad.
Well, look, as you said, you graciously said thank you so much. Without them coming out to play, we wouldn't have anyone to watch and to play for. We obviously didn't get our Arizona Bowl, so even though I fucking lost twice, you know, didn't.
I can't believe that touchdown.
8 fucking seconds left, Kelly. Like I'm in my room. My husband, and I'm like, no. And then Jack texts me. He goes, -24. I go, what the fuck happened, Jack? What the fuck happened? Because I'm like, this is wrong. It's gonna get called back.
We moved down to the third row where my aunt was sitting because by then all the LSU fans had left. And so there was rows open. So I left the guys, went and sat down there with my girlfriend Stacy, and we're just jibber jabbering, just like, you know,
Stacey,
there's nothing.
She was great.
She's super fun. We had a great time, but it was hilarious because it just happened out of nowhere. I was actually not even paying attention. My buddy Matt texted me that he had LSU under 20.5 team total. And he goes, you're watch your team give up a touchdown here. And I was like, well, it is the third string defense. Like anything can happen. And then it happened. I'm like, oh my God. So if you want to be mad at somebody, Matt put that in the universe. I'm blaming Matt because I was just appalled. I was like, who does that? You don't say that.
Who?
I mean, I was mad at the defense for giving up the touchdown. And then when I realized the ramifications for the bettors, I was ill. I was ill.
Well, you got to go celebrate with your band. I got to go to bed and cry myself to sleep. Not really cry myself to sleep, but you get the point.
Listen, if I wish our teams would have been playing each other full strength. I think that initial line of
Keyshawn Boutte already wants to put y'all on the schedule next year. He's like, put K-State on the schedule because y'all were hitting the fucking gritty on us. Like, fuck y'all, man. Get out of here.
It was crazy. There was a fight that Westy had texted me pregame that was on the internet, and then there was multiple scuffles throughout the game. I'm like,
I tried to record
one. Hate each other.
I tried to record one. There was a K-State fan and LSU fan. Well, it was a kid and like an older K-State fan, and the older K-State fan pushed the LSU fan, and they all fucking got ejected. And I got like the push, but I really thought there was going to be some like hands thrown, and I was like ready to like yell World Star, but it didn't happen. So
World Star.
But that, again, we had a great time. We need to see Megan hit the gritty. Jake, we talked about you this weekend.
We did.
Money Shots like #1 fan. Wish we could have seen you.
He's the one that puts Jack with 4Ks, which, mind you, every time I'm drunk now, that's how I address Jack.
Megan will hit the gritty if LSU basketball wins the Natty this year. I will hit y'all with a full gritty video. It's okay. Well, I mean, not a national championship. Look, hey, Will Wade can do anything. Through Will Wade, all things are possible. So you will just have to wait to see if you get that, or if I'm really drunk at Mardi Gras. So you never really know. So on that note, we'll transition a bit to college hoops. I don't have a ton today. I got 4 plays, one of which is the biggest public play ever. And the line moved half a point. And I still really like it. And I'm scared to death. But we'll get to that a little bit later. First off, we'll start with a marquee game, which first is Maryland at Illinois. Illinois is laying 11. First glance, because, I haven't been deep diving into basketball. I've just been looking at numbers, haven't been watching a whole lot. I was like, okay, Maryland, plus 11, that seems like it could work. They just came off of a big win against Iowa. Maybe that momentum will carry them. And then I really started to break down this Illinois team, and I feel like this Maryland team is going to get checked tonight by Illinois. I'm not laying the 11. I'm not playing it. But this Illinois team is good on both sides of the ball. I think they're 25th overall in the nation in scoring. They're 11th in three-point shooting. They get everything off the glass. Kofi Cockburn or Cockburn, if I see C-O-C-K, I'm going to call you Cock, so whatever. He is playing with so much confidence, dominating in the paint. I feel like this is a lay it or don't play it with Illinois, but I'm not putting my fingers on it or my money. What do you think, Kel?
Yeah, I love Brad Underwood. I know that you guys are not going to appreciate this, but he does come from the Frank Martin coaching tree. Obviously, he's been all over the place, and now he has a home at Illinois. This is, like you said, a really solid Illinois team. Defensively, they're still in the top 25, which tells me that they should play hard for 4 quarters here. When you start laying inflated numbers, Megan, and when I mean inflated, I made this game Illinois minus 9.5. So naturally, we're up to 11. We maybe even before tip, we start to see 11.5, 12. I've got to start looking at the dog. Well, my problem is when you've got a good defensive team, that back door may not be open. And similarly to college football, everybody knows what I'm looking for is those dogs to win outright. I don't think Maryland can win this game. Thus, I'm not going to get involved with them. I got to side with you a little bit here. Lay it or don't play it. But I do think that the line is just a smidge too high. This is a really good Illinois team, as I mentioned. And you mentioned Maryland off that hard-fought loss to Iowa. Can't do it. I think that's going to kind of be built in the line here a little bit. I will do the slight lean here to the Illini.
Okay, so since I didn't actually get any of your plays, I don't want to make sure I don't want to miss anything before I skip to Ohio State.
Megan, it's good because I don't have any plays for today. That's the thing, and that's what's going to be an interesting dynamic here. I'm not going to force anything in college basketball. We know we have a ton of games on the slate. I'm going to start to pick and choose. And yesterday I did really narrow it down and pick and choose. And Florida decided not to play in the second half. And I got really lucky to cover that bad number with Tech. I think it closed 6, if not 6.5.
Yeah, we split on that, thankfully. So like as I told Kelly, I liked her. We were on opposite sides of both yesterday, and I liked hers because I was like, at least one of us is going to be taking money from the book. And unfortunately, Kelly had a bad day yesterday, but that's none fault to her. And we were lucky to split on that game.
Yeah, so I'll take it. But I won by the hook. I'll take and I ended up adding Notre Dame from a buddy late. So that was an interesting one as well. So I will be tweeting out games that I actually put my money on. Otherwise, you guys aren't going to hear from me. So that's why Megan did not get a list of games. I said, look, we could talk through them. But unfortunately, maybe Megan can talk me into a game or two. We'll release it. But as of right now, I have not gotten to the window.
All right, so on to another marquee game, which I also did not touch, and that's Ohio State at Indiana. Another dog I was really looking at, Ohio State, strong. But then I looked at how fucking insane the Hoosiers have been at home. They have been crazy at home. They're winning by an average of 20.6 points, and didn't look at exactly who they've played because again I didn't look in this super hard because I'm not putting my money on it. But have they just been playing garbage teams? What's going on to why are the Hoosiers winning by 20 points or averaging by 20 points? And then they're shooting 50%, not like throughout. I just don't understand like how this Hoosiers team is supposed to not shoot 50% at home. Like, are they going to just like fall out? Are they not going to play well? Like, I feel like this is a team, if they're good at shooting, they're going to be good shooting at their own court, right? So I didn't want to touch Ohio State after I saw that. Plus, I think they might have some COVID issues. I could be wrong there, but I think that's also what I read. I think that just popped in my brain. But
Megan, I'd like to address the COVID issues and stuff like that because I gave out plays yesterday at 3 p.m. Central when I was at the airport in Houston, and there were still injuries and COVID reports coming out late. This is what gets really hard in the current landscape of betting, right? And I said this with NFL. I mentioned this with the bowl games. There was only a few bowl games I played early, and most of them worked out for me. That being said, this is kind of how I'm going to address college basketball as well. I'm going to have to wait a little bit. That may mean I miss the best of the number here. I think the best of the number here has been long gone with Indiana. If you liked Indiana, you needed to lay the 1. At 3.5, I'm with you. You got to look towards the dog here. But it does scare me because not only is Indiana kicked ass at home, they're also covering the spread. So You know what that means. That tells me that they're having dominant wins here at home. I'm looking at this Ohio State team. While I do think that they're well coached, while we do know that they play well on on offense, their defense, I have some concerns, right? They're off that hard-fought overtime win against Nebraska, and maybe that's because they were looking ahead to this game. I'm not going to back Ohio State, but if this line gets any higher, I may have to put my money on the Buckeyes.
I'm with you. I couldn't get to the window. I couldn't convince myself. Just didn't want to push anything. One that I did play, which it's so silly because both of these schools are so shit. So if I'll probably lose this and I'll probably deserve it. That's North Dakota and Nebraska Omaha. I have watched zero of either of these teams. But I'm going to go with North Dakota based on the numbers. They have just been a better team. Though their total scoring, they're like in the 200s. They're 72nd in three-point shooting. Okay, and then Omaha hasn't been great defensively. So I feel like I'm catching 3.5 with this North Dakota team that can get hot from the 3. It just seems like a favorable dog for me personally, and I think they can then win outright. So I like North Dakota here plus the 3.5. And I know it's a shit game, and probably will not talk you into it because it is a shit game. But that's what I'm going with there.
So I'm looking at it right now because I can't name a starter, full disclosure, on either one of these teams.
Yeah, no, I totally understand.
But I did want to pull something up because one of the resources that I really enjoy using, and I think I've already said this once on the show, is Ken Pomeroy. He does such a great job with the numbers. Even the bookmakers in Vegas, all over the country, use his information. I'm looking at this. We have the 351st ranked defense versus the 356th ranked defense.
Yeah.
And I'm going, okay, so the whole world's going to want to bet the over. Currently, the over 146.5 at the Barstool Sportsbook. I don't want to go against Megan here, but I hope neither team gets hot from 3. I kind of like the under 146. I think this line is just a little too high. And again, these are interesting and ever moving college basketball totals, right? We know that bookmakers won't take a big bet on a lot of these, and rightfully so. These numbers get hammered week in and week out. But I'm going to take a look at that. I'm not going to necessarily bet it just now, but that total has me a little intrigued here. Looking at some of the power ratings, I did make the game 145, which means there's not a ton of value there with the under. I might get to the window on that one, Megan.
Well, if you do, please let us know, because I will be cheering North Dakota to absolutely not let Omaha score at all. So, next, another game I have my money on is Oral Roberts at St. Thomas. And this is an Oral Roberts team that plays fucking fast. They are a fast-paced team, and when they get hot, they can shoot anybody out of the gym. I understand that the St. Thomas team has gone on a little tear lately, winning back-to-back games. I still think Oral Roberts covers this number. I think I got it 4.5. I like this Oral team, and I did previously in the past. What do you like, Kel?
Yeah, I am looking at this, Megan. You're right. They do have a really nice tempo. My concern is here that their defense is not great, but the good news for them is St. Thomas's defense is just atrocious. And so Oral Roberts should be able to run away with this one, at least tempo-wise, though I do think St. Thomas will slow that down just a little bit. Kempa makes the game 3, and that always makes me go, what the hell? What is he seeing that I'm not seeing as far as the numbers go? 4.5 is interesting. And I'm going to go ahead and guess that the opening line was probably closer to 3. And the bookmakers took some decent-sized bets on Oral Roberts and moved the line up.
That wouldn't surprise me at all. This Oral Roberts team they took a lot of money. What was it, last year when they went on that little run, or was it the year before? I'm getting years mixed up at this point. But I like this team. Again, I like fast-paced basketball. It's tough once they get hot, it's really, really tough to cool down in basketball when y'all are all playing cohesively. So yeah, as I said, Oral Roberts minus 4.5. That's for me. I don't know if Kelly's playing it, and if she is, she'll tweet it out. We have another marquee game up next, which I mentioned earlier that I think that like 99.9% of the fucking money has to be, or the public has to be on Wisconsin, but it's only moved to 3. I got it at 2.5. But again, I'm scared. But Iowa lost against Purdue. They lost against Illinois. They lost against Iowa State. Is this Iowa team good? I don't know. I will say that this fucking Wisconsin team has screwed me royally, because they do get hot from 3. And when they do get hot from 3, it doesn't stop. All these white dudes are just out there just draining. We were sitting there before you got there with Jack watching it. And I had Purdue, I believe, was that the last game they played? I don't know. But I think it was. Yeah. And I was like, fuck. And Jack's like, yeah, Wisconsin. I'm like, no, Jack, no. But
Jack didn't even go to school there. Tell him to be quiet.
Be quiet, Jack. But yeah, so I'm taking Wisconsin. I'll be the sucker. I'll be the rat in the trap. But I just think Wisconsin's playing better basketball. And if I love taking a 3-point shooting team at home. It's just, to me, it makes sense, right? Like, you're used to that bucket. You're used to your floor. You're used to your court. Like, I like it. I like Wisconsin. And again, I'm terrified, but here we are.
I like Fran McCaffrey a lot. And one of the things that you guys will realize throughout the course of, the next 3 months of college basketball season, at least for me, is that I like to bet on certain conferences that I know the best. And the Big Ten is my favorite basketball conference. Then I would say probably the Big 12, throw in some ACC, of course. And then every once in a while, I'll have an SEC player too. Megan, I hate to bring it to you here, and I wasn't going to get involved. But the more you have me looking at this Iowa State or this Iowa offense, I know they had that 3-game losing stretch, but that was almost a month ago at this point in time. Defensively, I have my concerns, because we always know what do you get from Wisconsin? You got the big body boys that are going to play hard down deep. They've got that great defense. They have the just gut-wrenching tempo that makes them almost insufferable to watch, right?
Right.
The news is here, we've got the number 1 team and the number 2 team as far as turnovers. They don't turn the ball over. So we're going to see a really hard-fought game here. if you want to give me 3, I'm going to have to start looking towards Iowa. And 3 is what the current number is here at the Barstool Sportsbook. I'm not going to get involved just yet. I want to see how this one gets bet up. The line should absolutely be Wisconsin -2. So you're already kind of paying a little premium, if you will, because of all the things that Megan said about this Wisconsin team, how dominant they have been at home. Look at their home record really quick. Their last, 6-1 in their last 7 games at home. They've just been absolutely cruising. And the nice part is that they've done it in a pretty sizable manner. That being said, I think Iowa, now that we're starting to get in conference play here, we're going to see some of these teams have to really start to buckle down on defense. And I think Iowa is going to be that team. And I would love to see Iowa be able to keep this one close. When you have these marquee type games, though, just know that the bookmakers spend a ton of time on it. What did I mention? I mentioned that there are almost 40 basketball games today, and I am looking at 8 of them. And that's just kind of the downfall. So some little handicapping advice for all of you guys out there. Find a smaller conference that you make your niche, right? And get to know those teams, get to know those coaches, get to know their styles, and you can find bad lines throughout the day because the number 1 game that they're looking at today, Ohio State, Indiana. The number 2 game, Iowa, Wisconsin. And then probably somewhere like Washington State, Colorado, USC, California, right? Those big name programs in college football, college basketball are always going to get more attention than those small programs. So keep an eye out there. And that's what Megan does. She finds these little small teams. And that's something that I haven't really taken my own advice on, by the way.
Hello. Sorry, I can't say it's so much better than LSU. Hello. Fuck off. Just right now. Just because, we only had 36 scholarship players. No big deal. All right. So on to another game that I'm playing. And actually, I usually don't say stuff like this, but I really like this game. I got it at 2. It's at 2.5, which obviously it's not great for me. But I don't know why it's moving in the other direction. Maybe just because of the last decade, this Cincinnati team has owned the SMU Mustangs. But it's a new year. It's 2022. SMU looks fucking fantastic. I think they're on an 8-0 run right now. They're playing, as I said, Cincinnati's owned them for the last decade. Do you not think that SMU wants to get a fucking win? Like, I'm sorry. I got them +2. And I'm willing to, I almost want to put an alternate line -3 out there just to see what it would pay. Because I'm so obsessed with SMU today. And I've actually seen some sharp people on it, which has made me feel a little bit better. But also, Cincinnati hasn't covered, I think they haven't covered in 8 games. SMU, I don't know what the win streak is, but the 8 is coming from, my brain is coming from Cincinnati. They haven't covered. I think they covered 1 in 8 games. It's disgusting. I don't know. As I said, I love SMU today. And that scares me too. I mean, it almost scares me as much as I'm Wisconsin. But I fucking love them, and I'm all over them. What do you think, Kel?
I'm going to move the stool for you. You said you wanted a -2?
Do -3.
SMU -3 is +170 at the Barstool Sportsbook. I think the 120 is worth the sprinkle here, Megan. Look, you're right. Cincinnati has absolutely dominated SMU. This is a really good SMU team, though, right? Jankovic is a great coach. I like what he's doing down there. This offense gets going, right? And that's something that you and I just spoke about that we like to see. We want to see those fast-paced teams. Now, while they're not that fast, they do appear to be a little bit faster because they play in the AAC. The only concern and the caveat that I have here is the Cincinnati defense. And you mentioned this is not a Cincinnati team of the past. They have 4 losses, a couple ugly ones. They're just off a loss to Tulane. My one question is, and that I got to figure out, is where their home court advantage comes from, right? Maybe that's why this line isn't a pick 'em, because that's what I have the game as. So it's a really interesting thing to see. The dog getting lots of love, because you're right. You're not the only one on SMU here. There's a lot of people I've seen get to talking about them. I'm going to look at this one a little bit further, but I'll have to say SMU or pass.
Let's go. Makes me feel good. And let's go Mustangs. On to the last real marquee game, if you will. I don't really consider it a marquee game. I will be asleep. But that's USC at Cal. Trojans haven't played since mid-December, but I know that they have a lot of depth and a lot of talent. on that team. They should be able to get it done against this Cal team, but I don't trust it, and I also won't be watching it, and I also don't care. So my money will not be there. Kelly, if you had to pick a side, or if you do pick a side, what would it be?
So if you remember, Andy Enfield's the guy from Florida Gulf Coast, and it always makes me smile because that was such a fun team during that tournament. So I want to see him have success. And this year, they've started to have some success, right? They haven't lost a game yet, but that break makes me really apprehensive, Megan. Some of these California schools you're going to have to keep an eye on, even some of the schools on the East Coast, when they have all these postponed games. Are they going to be allowed to practice? How much time have they spent together? Have they been sitting around since Christmas and New Year's doing nothing? By all means, USC should be able to handle business against Cal. But that long break has me going, wait a minute here. Pump the brakes. Is this team going to come out flat? Which they could. And that's the hard thing, is you can't quantify when a team is going to come out flat. I was kicking myself so hard middle of the second half against Florida because I had already written down, look to fade Alabama in the first half. Unfortunately, I didn't have that notebook with me on the plane, and it was just one of those things. This may be a look to fade USC in the first half. Maybe Cal gets the best of them. Cal's off a nice win over Arizona State, pretty dominant win, in fact. So I may be looking at Cal in the first half here, thinking that USC comes out just a little light after that hiatus.
Look, I mean, Cal isn't has the ability to be good defensively, and it's not like they can't stop USC. As I said, I'm with you. The break, they could come out. Basketball, to me, you need to be playing. You need to be in the gym every day. Y'all need to be touching that ball together. And
I think if anybody's got some good info at USC, these are the kind of people I want to be friends with.
Yeah.
Somebody that knows somebody within the program. Oh no, Cal, they've been practicing every day, because that's kind of the thing. Like with some of these shutdowns, with some of these postponements, if the school's not letting them play, are they letting them practice? Because like Megan said, if you're not in the gym, you're getting stale.
So is that a pass for you too, Kel? Or you want to stay away
I'm
from
going to say it's a pass, but I may end up on Cal first half here.
That's very interesting, as I said, because they can be good defensively. So maybe they come out and they're like, maybe they realize that this is the time to take advantage of USC. And I mean, USC is ranked right now, right? And Cal's not. So wouldn't it be nice for Cal to get a win over a ranked USC team? I feel like it would be. But I'm also not a basketball player or a coach, so maybe I'm wrong. That's all I have down, and that's all I have out today. So I have SMU, I have North Dakota, I have Oral Roberts, and I have Wisconsin. Crossing my fingers that we have another good day in basketball. I think the gambling gods blessed me yesterday because of how well I did with my LSU loss. So I think that they were like, good girl, here's some wins to hold you over for the next month.
Aren't the gambling gods just the best?
Just the best. All right, y'all. We will be back tomorrow to talk the NFL, the crazy NFL. We don't know who the fuck's playing, who's not, what's going on. And then, unfortunately, I will be out Monday. I think we will have maybe Rico as a replacement. Don't know what's happening. Just have some personal.
Well, Megan already gave it away, but Rico is going to be joining me to talk
My
national
bad.
championship. I joked on a different show that's the SEC Championship 2.0. That's pretty much what it feels like, but I'm excited to get somebody from a non-SEC school on to hear what they have to think about it, and it'll be for some good debates. I'm excited.
Absolutely. I will be. Yeah,
Julian says we need to comb our hair. Julian, leave me alone.
I will
still
be at
hungover
a funeral,
from Houston.
So Kelly and Rico will absolutely kill it. I'm sorry. I said funeral and then kill it. I'm really sorry.
Hey.
But I am on Alabama plus the 3. Nick Saban wins big game. So yeah. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow. Talk the NFL.